Sammy. Sammy. Look at the... Did you ever read the poem that he wrote?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a copy of it.
Tony, Connie.
I never got one of these.
Look at...
Oh, I went to his funeral.
Look at my Tony.
Do you save clippings from all of the people who passed away?
Yeah, jigs of all the people that I know. Yeah, well, see, I was a Madam
Finish the
Chaplain.
madam.
Chaplain.
I'm about to learn the family secret.
I was a Madam. Madam Chaplain. Give me the hand. Oops, I dropped one.
She was a Madam Chaplain for which one?
VFW for about 3 years old. That's why I kept these.
What's a Madam Chaplain?
Madam Chaplain is like, I would go to the homes in their time of grief, like a a priest, a reverend, but I'm a chaplain, chaplain of the post.
Yeah.
Oh, chaplain of the post.
Jeez, man, you got a lot.
You remember him? I know him. Remember him? Remember our trash man?
Oh! Oh my goodness, Mom. Yeah. Dang, Mom, you do carry a lot of these.
Frankie, my best girlfriend. My best girlfriend. Ben, did you know he passed away, didn't you?
No.
Diana, here you go. He's in here somewhere.
I know.
Okay,
Mr. Uribe.
Oh, I like that picture of this person. Who is this?
Gloria, she was very good friend.
Oh, Renteria. I know who this is.
Yeah, look at Rayo. Remember Rayo? You know her.
Yeah.
Of course, your father, yeah.
Oh, my dad. I have this.
Let's share.
That's a nice picture of Gloria.
She had a stroke, and then she came back. She was completely, her whole side was didn't move. It's how when they have a stroke, paralyzed, and so. But she went to therapy and everything, and she was pretty tough. And she could talk afterward, like Patricia Neal. She could talk and everything else, There's Mrs. Mathnis. They died 6 months apart.
Who?
Herman and her son.
Domingo died? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she died. Jesse Arias. Orange. I have so many of these. Let's see. James Anderson. We're getting to the Lupe Padilla.
How is it?
Oh, you have my grandma's?
Yeah. Lupe Padilla. Oh, here it is. She was born in 1908 and passed away in 84.
Passed away the year I was born.
You were a baby when wait. You were. This is January of 84.
I was
A month old?
born December 84, so
I carried 2 kids.
I wouldn't have been born yet. She died a year.
Yeah, in 84.
Oh, I was pregnant. That's right. I had the 2 girls.
You were pregnant when
Wait, Mom.
shoot. You were pregnant with one of them when we went up to Bass Lake. Remember?
Who's Carolyn there?
With Carolyn.
Oh wait, Bass Lake.
81, 82.
Oh, that was Christina.
81, 82, something around there.
I was just gonna say, wait a minute. I remember Bass Lake. Oh yeah. Okay. before Carolyn.
And see, and Ruthie passed away in 91.
Do you know what city she was born in Mexico?
No, I have no idea. Hermosillo.
She was a Matilda Simon.
Simone?
Simon, but that's her married name.
That's her married name.
Martinez was her last name.
Oh, okay.
Simone like Simon?
Uh-huh. That was
No,
her married name.
it wasn't. But Martinez is her maiden name or her adopted name or whatever.
Did she ever tell you the story of how she came to America?
They told me her and my dad. My dad was in the Mexican Navy, and
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Grandpa was in the Mexican Navy?
yeah, and he shit. And first he was in the Mexican. He was in the Revolution. He fought with Pancho Villa. He fought with
What
Pancho.
was your dad's name?
Huh?
What was your dad's name?
Tomas Cisneros. Jenny. God, I can't believe she's been gone that long.
What year was your father born?
Boo. I don't know. I don't even have an obituary for him.
Do you know what year he died?
I know he was 90 something. I can't remember when he died.
And he was from Jalisco?
Huh?
He was from Jalisco?
Yeah, Jalisco, Michoacan.
Just like Dad.
Hmm.
No, Dad's Chihuahua. I'm sorry.
And he was in the Mexican Navy and he fought.
Yeah, he fought in the Mexican Revolution when he was about 14, something like that. And I guess my mother was one of the. They got together something, maybe a little bit older because when they came over here, she was pretty young, and they came over here after because he was in the Mexican Navy. He was 18, I guess, and they came over here. But she used to be with him when he was in the Mexican Revolution because she's the one that used to carry the
Bandita?
banderos, what are they you call them?
Solideras?
Huh?
The Solideras.
Soldaderas.
Yeah.
So, see,
Oh, sorry. I thought I stepped on.
And how do you know he fought with Pancho Villa? Did he tell you that?
yeah.
Did he ever tell you any stories about fighting in the Revolution?
No, he just only. Then he went into the Mexican Navy, and my mother, we used to have a picture of him, big round old oval picture. He was in a Navy uniform, sitting down in a chair, I remember, and he had a sword, and the little pillbox hats for the Navy in Mexico. But when they got divorced, she threw it away.
Oh, man.
I mean, so I don't have nothing really except what pictures that I took of him,
When were they divorced?
Geez, I must have been about 8 years old. 7 or 8 years old, they separated. Because I know she left us.
Your
And
mother
I-
left you?
Yeah, she left us and I never saw her again till I was 18.
Did your dad raise you? Did your father raise you?
Yeah, more or less till I was 17.
And what
Did-
happened when you were 17?
I took off. I went to go live with my aunt.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Okay, I had Carmen, I think it was Carmen, Elizabeth, Francis, Joe, and myself. I don't remember what.
Were you guys close?
No, not especially, no.
What order were you in? Were you the youngest, the oldest?
I was a baby.
The baby?
Yeah. I was a baby.
And do you remember your grandparents at all? Of your fathers?
No, I have a picture of them, but I don't remember because, see, they're in Mexico. I'm over here. So I had no
Contact with them?
no. I had very little contact with any one of them. You know, none of them, none of my family. I didn't have any contact with them because we were not raised together. So I just the only reason I got back with seeing my mother again, my brother found her when he went to Korea, and he wanted me to be there, and that's why I was there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have never, because I never looked for her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have never known where she was at.
Did you ever ask her why she left?
No, that's kind of personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very personal. I just don't like to say anything personal about the family. Just what I was born, that's it. I grew up and that was it, but there's a lot of personal things that I don't, you know.
So you were born in Indio. Did you grow up out there in
No,
India?
I came to San Fernando in,
San Fernando
right,
Valley?
San Fernando, town of San Fernando. Pacoima and San Fernando, we lived around there in Pacoima and San, because I went to San Fernando kindergarten. See, and after that we moved to Merced, and that's when she left. So
Merced?
I was about 7, 8 years old when she left. So I don't know.
Merced, like up north? Or around?
San Fernando?
Yeah.
Oh, Merced or San Fernando?
Merced.
Oh, it's over by
Fresno?
yeah, Fresno.
Yeah.
Fresno around that area there. Yeah.
What did your dad do for a living after he got out of the Navy?
He came over here. Actually, he was a jack of all trade, master of none. He he did what he had to do because that was during the Depression. So he had to do what he had to do. You know, I can remember them in Coachella Valley. They pick dates.
They have a date festival out there in
Yeah,
Coachella.
yeah. Well, I was baptized over there in the church, and I can't remember the name of the church.
Oh, really? And that place is small, so.
Well, see, I didn't have a birth certificate
Uh-huh.
because out there when you get born, you have either a person,
Right.
you know, whatnot, and let me sit down, mijo.
Oh, that's an house.
And so I didn't have a birth certificate. I needed a birth certificate, you know, to get my Social Security. So my dad went back to the church, see, and he just so happened that I don't know how I had the my baptismal certificate, see, and it had the names of your sponsors, your madrina Nina
Yeah.
and Nino. Well, she was still alive.
Oh, wow.
She was still alive at that time, so he went and got a letter from her and everything certifying that was because they signed it and they certified it, so they gave him my birth certificate
Oh.
backwards.
Backwards.
They Xeroxed it, you know, black and white, but it was back, so you had to put it up against the mirror to be able to read it. You know?
Oh, I get what you're saying backwards. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, them photocopies were strange that way.
They were strange then. Yeah, but that's how I got my birth certificate. But I still have my old birth certificate. It's one of those big old parchments like that.
Yeah.
But it has, you know, and the priest and the holes and all, and it's not like now
Yeah.
little things, you know. But he did a lot of things. He worked. We worked in the fields. That's one thing. We always worked in the fields. You know, cotton, peaches, grapes, you name it. And he used to have a little truck that he would fill up with fruit and everything, and drive all the way, go to Los Angeles, fill it up, and go all over Riverside selling to the ranches the fruits and whatever he would get. You know, like a produce truck. You know, and Jesus, what else did my dad work in? Well, he was in the National Guard here in California.
He was in the National Guard?
Yeah. At the time when they had the encampments of the Japanese.
He worked at those encampments?
Yeah, he would watch, you know, they had to have a watch on them. They couldn't go anywhere. They were behind wires. So they had to have like guards or something. The National Guard just to take care of that.
So, but, they didn't have to have, they didn't have to be nationals? I mean, citizens to be in the National Guard back then?
No, my dad was a citizen. He
Oh.
got to be a citizen.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he got to be a citizen. Him and my mom. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So both your parents became citizens.
Hmm?
Both your parents became citizens.
Yeah. Otherwise, they can't get no Social Security or you know,
Oh, okay.
because he he retired at 69 and got his Social Security and moved back to Mexico. That's why I never saw him again. So when he was 69, I can't remember how old I was. I mean, he used to come in here. He used to bring you guys candy. Remember from Mexico?
Uh-huh. I remember that, and I remember just one time going shopping with him. Remember, he took me shopping, and he came back mad because I didn't want to buy a dress when I didn't want to take anything.
Yeah, I have a picture of you and him. We were standing over there, and he used to always tell you to take out his white hairs. He used to always pluck his white hair because he didn't want white hairs. He used to pluck out his white hairs.
When you were 17, you moved with your aunt. Where did you live?
Van Nuys.
Van Nuys?
Yeah. Don't tell me what I did then, because that's personal. I started doing the same thing you're doing now. Or were when you were single.
Okay.
Now you know what you're going to tell.
That's when they had the trolleys. Can you imagine?
Trolleys in Van Nuys?
Yeah, they used to have those trolleys that go from city to city. You know, those electric trolleys. You know, that you see on the movies. That's what they used to have.
They still have a little bit of the electric cars in LA.
Yeah.
In the LA area. And,
Yeah, but not the same as these trolleys.
Oh, I know.
These trolleys were like, what do you call them? Those old cabooses, the old train cabooses. You know, they weren't the same. These are modernized compared to the other ones. We used to, you know, they were just like almost like the ones in San Francisco. You know, the ones that go up and down.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
Wow.
And you had to get on there and pay your money and, you know. And they stopped at midnight. Oh, man, we had to rush all the time to get on the trolley to come home because we were in LA, you know, partying it up, and me and my cousin. We gotta go, China. The trolley's gonna leave us. It's gonna leave us unless we get somebody to take us home, you know.
Yeah.
So we'd sweet talk somebody to bring us home sometime. Where do you live? Oh, just down the street. From LA to Van Nuys, and not just down the street, lady. And they would go, oh, Gina, aren't you hungry? Oh, yeah, I'm starving. I'm hungry too. And the guys, oh, you're hungry? Yeah, we're kind of hungry. Oh, we'll take you out. We'll take us out to eat. And then they'd get us home. You live pretty far. You said down the street. Well, to us, it's just down the street. So they'd feed us, bring us home, and then bye.
How old were you when you met my mom's dad?
I was 18.
18? And how did you guys meet?
You really want to know that?
Yeah, I gotta know. Gotta know where
I don't think you want to write it in there. No, I was walking down the street because my mom had a restaurant. You know, she had a Mexican restaurant in Ileton.
Ileton?
Ileton, yeah.
Oh, I never even heard
She had it for 7 years. It was about 300 people, you know. How could you
Where's
lose?
Ileton?
Rio Vista, Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Outside of Sacramento?
Yeah. And so anyway, I was there with my mom. I was working at the cannery, and I used to help my mom around the kitchen and serving. And she wanted something from the store or something. She needed something, so I'm trucking on down the street, you know, because I was only one street, you know. That's it.
Hail Mary.
Yeah. And so I was walking down the street. Well, here's this guy coming, you know, walk on the little sidewalk, you know, like here. And he says, ay, chula, buenota, ¿cómo estás, buenota? What the? You know how Mexicans are when they pat you back. You know? I said, no, I turned around, like, chinga tu madre, cabrón. You know? Which just means very bad. Very bad, you know. Yeah, I looked at him. You know, so I went and bought my thing, and I went to my mother's, you know, and took my mother her stuff. And I was there, you know, and he followed me. He walked in, but he was one of her boarders, but I had never met him. You know. And he told, "Hey, Matilda, who's this?" Oh, he says, "This is my daughter. Came to live with us. My son's overseas." And everything. Oh, I didn't know you had a daughter. You know. No, introduce us. So she's the one that introduced us.
How old was How old was he at the time?
He was 5 years older than I was.
Okay.
He was 5 years older than I was. So,
So it wasn't love at first sight.
no. No.
How old were you when you had my mom?
22. 22.
How old were you when you got married?
19.
Where were you guys married?
Reno.
Reno?
Reno. It was a spur of the moment thing. Either you marry me now or I'm not going to marry you at all. I go, okay, then let's get married. So we got married.
And how long were you guys married for?
18 years, huh? Yeah, 18 years.
Yeah, because I was what, 15, 16?
Yeah, 18 years.
Yeah.
And what did you do? What were your, what kind of jobs did you have when you were growing up?
From here to here.
She's had a lot of jobs.
What did you used to do? What was your favorite job of all of them?
None of them. Not a one of them. It was all actually labor.
Labor jobs?
Labor, what I call intense labor. My first job was more or less as a nanny, housekeeper, whatever, at $1.25 an hour or something like that. And then I worked at the cleaners, which is a little better. Well, I walked out on the nanny job and I went to the cleaners. But I worked in packing houses, packing. It's been all more or less packing houses or whatever. Worked as a janitor, worked as a cashier, I worked for the cafeteria in Magoo for 3 years, something like that.
Point Magoo. That's the
Point Magoo.
naval station.
So it's always been labor, hard labor. It's never been anything that sees you sit down and take it easy. It's always been hard labor, field work, stuff like that. Because I didn't have an education, so
How far did you go in school?
9th grade.
She's good in math, though. She's always been good in math.
You like
Well, see, when I learned up to the 9th grade, going 9 and a half, because I was 13 and a half when I quit school. I quit school to take care of my niece and my brother and my father. So it was what I learned in school. I guess I retained a lot of it, and of course, I've always been a curious person. I always read. I was every day. To this day, I read everything, from front to back. My newspaper, I know everything, laws and whatnot. Him, no, I give him the piece of paper so he can read something. He reads Fry's, and Best stores.
What kind of jobs did my mom's dad have? What did he used to do?
He was a laborer. Actually, he worked in the fields and everything else. When I met him, he was working picking asparagus, which I didn't know nothing about asparagus.
I don't even know what an asparagus plant looks like.
It's a rough job, let me
That
tell you.
must be rough.
You go to work in at, what was it? You used to go in at 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning when the light's coming out at 5 o'clock in the morning, because there's these fields of asparagus, and I didn't know this. In fact, he taught me how to cook asparagus. I didn't know how to do it. But when you got this, those little things that you pull out the weeds with in your garden, this, that has that prong, but this has a little bit bigger, longer prong. Well, what he used to do is they have a bunch of guys, right, in the rows, and those asparagus are growing by the second. It's not that it takes you weeks. No, you can see it actually sprouting.
Oh wow.
See, so they have to pick them right away at the right time when they're really set to go. But what they did was they get an asparagus here, cut it, get an asparagus here, cut it, put it in another. And so by the time they get this handful of asparagus, they lay it down and go to the next row, and the other guy would pick it up and to be packing and everything. So actually it was, but you couldn't work after 10 o'clock, I think, in the morning,
Oh wow.
because it's a job that you couldn't eat or anything either, because it's a job that you're not stooping. That's just stooping. You know, you're not going a little bit of, you're running, right? So if you have anything to eat or anything, your stomach would bloat or whatever, because it's kind of liquid or whatever, you know. But that was what it was. Me, I used to do stoop labor, but not like that. No.
Yeah.
That was a real hard work to do there. And he worked at the sugar factory, and that's when Gracie was born. When in '52, when they had that big earthquake, and the sugar factory broke down, and he couldn't work there anymore because they closed down the sugar factory. But he worked as backup in restaurants, prep cook. In fact, I just saw that the guy that one of the sons of Kit's Palomino room just passed away,
Oh wow.
and he used to work there. That's Kit's Palomino. He worked at the Wagon Wheel too.
The wagon wheel.
The Wagon Wheel Cafe, yeah, up there
Yeah.
in the bowling alley.
Yeah.
They had a really nice little cafe up there, and he was
Yeah,
good
he
cook.
worked at the bowling alley, but he worked at the Wagon Wheel too.
Oh, the Wagon Wheel, that's right. He
Restaurant.
did the restaurant.
Yeah, he worked at the diner. He didn't work at the restaurant. He worked at the diner place of it. Yeah.
So you both cooked.
I didn't cook. No, I got out of cooking because I didn't want to cook. At Point Magoo, it was hot food. Somebody did hot food, or they did the grills, which is hamburgers. And I was not about to get behind cooking hamburgers. I'd make the salads, I'd make the jellos, I'd put up the salad bar. I was a cashier, you know, and stuff like that. But when Daisy asked me to go, because they didn't have somebody to cook on the grill for hamburgers, I says, I can't do it, Daisy. I said, I'm going to burn everything. I can't do it. You know damn well I could cook.
I was gonna say, Mom, you're a liar. You're a liar. You can cook better than most.
So anyway, I figured if I mess up 2 hamburgers or something, she's going to take me off, and she did. I messed it up, you know, and I gave the order for something else, and I put cheese in the hamburger wasn't supposed to. Hey, if you don't know how to cook hamburger, I told you, Daisy, I know how to do that.
You're such a liar.
She says, get back to what you were doing. He said, I'll get somebody else to do it. I said, thank you, Lord. Because it was hot back there, and
I
it's
know,
greasy, and then you, no.
Do you know where he was born? Do you know where her dad was born?
Jalisco, Michoacan.
I thought it was Chihuahua. No?
He was born in Jalisco, Michoacan.
Do you know anything about his family at all? Like where he came from or anything about his
I
family?
know he had a twin brother,
Yeah, the twin brother.
twin sister.
Sister.
I think he told me he had a twin sister.
Yeah.
I met his father in 1960, but he passed away that same year in a flash flood or flooding, whatever. But I never saw him again. So I met his sisters, which are, well, I saw them for a couple of days, and I never saw them again. We just didn't click.
Were they in Mexico
Yeah,
still?
they were in Mexico. They lived up on a hill, and terrible. You know, it was about a one room like
I remember
this,
that.
but the one room like this,
Dirt floor.
and they had dirt floors. They didn't have no bed, no nothing. She had about 7 kids, and then her daughter had a baby that was a couple of weeks old, and they used to have boards along the sides, and they slept on the boards where they put down 4 chairs, and they put 2x4s with the strings on it and put a sheet on. They were poor.
Yeah.
I mean poor.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you know anything about his father? Like anything he did in Mexico? Or...
he was pretty high up. He was pretty high up in he was a commissioner of something. I don't remember what. He was a commissioner of something for the town. He was a town commissioner for something. But he was always, how would you say, fighting for people, for their rights and everything else.
Civil
and
rights?
Huh?
Like civil rights?
Yeah, something like that. And he was always going all over to the other towns. And he always wore a Virgen de Guadalupe on his back of his shirt, whatever he had, a stamped Virgen de Guadalupe all the time. He always, what I can remember, he always had a portfolio that he kept all his paper. And the reason I remember that is because he told me that when in Mexico, there's rivers that go snaking rivers, in dry weather, you can walk across them. And when it rains, they go high up, so you have to use a tapancos to cross them from one section to the other. Tapanco is what you call a raft.
Okay.
A raft, sort of like a raft, and it has a, like boards around or whatever. And it had rained or whatever, and he was gonna get on it with several other people on this raft to go across. And he had his suitcase and he had, his stuff. But they said that he turned around, the ones that saw him that didn't get on, and said he turned around and told his kid, "Here, hold my briefcase till I get over there and bring it over, and hold my jacket or sweater," what he wore to, for the picture of the Virgen de Guadalupe. And so they started across, but these two other guys that were there were messing around or something, and I guess they went too close to the edge, the river turns or whatever, and I guess one of them pulled a limb, and it made flipped it over, and I think 6 or 7 of them died. He drowned there. He drowned. So from what I understand, what Robert told me that, because they wrote to him and everything, and they were writing to us, and they send I don't remember what happened to those things, obituary or the thing in the newspaper that they sent. I don't remember what happened to them. That they got those two for murder.
Oh, wow.
So I guess they killed. Dead, you're gone, because over there they killed you anyway. You got the death sentence, that's it, you're dead,
Yeah.
And they I think it was 6 or 7 deaths
Oh, wow.
that they killed at that time, But that's all I know really about him, but because I never saw him again.
Yeah.
I never went back again.
I was talking to Bubba the other day, my cousin Bubba, and he was saying that there's like a monument or something for him in Mexico. Like he has a picture of a statue of him in Mexico.
Of who?
Her
Grandpa,
dad.
my grandfather.
No. No, there is no monument. No, there's no monument. The only thing that my brother would, if there was a monument, my brother would have told me. There was no monument, as far as I know. He was buried when he died, my brother buried him over there. See, in Mexico, when you die, in fact, my brother kept. You mean your great grandpa or your grandpa?
No, her dad's dad. Robert's dad.
Great grandpa.
Yeah. My great grandpa, her dad, like a monument for him.
Her dad?
Yeah.
Not my dad, my grandfather.
Your grandpa? No, no. Because I don't think anybody actually knew anything about Robert's father except Robert and me, and I knew there wasn't anything there. And if there was, Robert would have told me about it.
Yeah.
Because in 1960,
But I think this all happened afterwards. They did stuff after you guys were, because Dad took Lyle Dad took Lyle down there, and they've got pictures of all this stuff down there with Grandpa.
Well, I don't know, you know, as far as I know, no. As far as I know, no, because, you know, like, but like I said, even so, Joe would have told me about it.
Why would Uncle Joe know about my dad's stuff?
Your Uncle Joe went over there every year.
I'm okay. I think we got Grandpa's confused. We're not talking about your dad. We're talking
I
about,
know that, but if he'd have gone, my dad, he went to go visit my dad, right? His dad, right? So your dad's dad is his grandpa. Your father's father is Joe's grandfather.
Okay.
No,
Was he?
No.
he's his uncle.
He's,
He's Joe's uncle.
no, Uncle
No.
Joe. No, Joe. You're talking two different families now.
Okay, who had the monument?
My grandfather,
Roberto
Roberto
Salazar.
Salazar.
Uh-huh.
They have a monument for him in their town where he was. You know, he worked for the people.
Yeah, Robert's
Right.
Robert's father.
Dad. Yeah.
Okay.
You see what we're saying? I think you
Yeah.
got a little confused.
Okay. So that's a Salazar
Yeah,
side.
that's the Salazar side.
Not the Cisneros side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I never did hear about that or anything, and like I say,
I know. I think it happened after years later they did this kind of stuff because I've seen pictures and I think Dad mentioned to me once too. He took Lyle.
hell, they have so many statues over there. They probably took a picture of a statue and probably thought they have a statue in every corner. Let me tell you, they have a statue in the church in every corner. And I tell you something, when we went over the 1960s, when we went, well, you guys were gone because you guys went with all the cousins.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't babysitting none of them yet. All your dad's cousins took each one of them. There was what, 5 of you guys, right? 5,
I don't know. I just know I went with Grandpa.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, because Aiden was born afterwards, so 5 of you were with us.
You're after.
Yeah, so 5 of you went with us, right, in the whole station right here. But we went, you know, looking around and
Looked like she did it. No, maybe not.
we went around, you know, looking at, you know, around the town, you know, in Tepi. And we were looking around and everything. While we were walking along, okie dokie, and down one street, and we turn around to go to the other corner of the
It
street.
sure
and
looked like it was going to go
I
through.
said, what is that? I asked your dad, I mean, Grandpa, I said, what's that? He said,
Hit the pole?
oh, he said, those are coffins.
Oh.
I said, what?
It missed it. Just
They got them stacked, like a furniture store. See? And aren't you supposed to be in the mortuary? No. He says here, when somebody dies or whatever, they just take the measurement of the person is dead. They come in here, they get by the coffin, take it home, and they carry the person to the cemetery. I ain't coming down this way no more. Yeah, it was really weird. You know, weird to me.
Yeah.
Weird to me. I mean, coffins and you know, it's just like walking downtown and you see a coffin store. You know, it was really weird.
Did your parents both, did they both speak English in the home or only Spanish in your house?
No, they spoke English.
They spoke English?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could speak to my grandma Matilda. I remember that.
Yeah, they spoke English. See, the only reason these guys don't speak Spanish, well, most of them picked it up later on, because when your grandpa came over here, he was illegal, you know. So when he came over here, all he could say was ham and eggs and pie. That's all he ate 3 times a day, ham and eggs and pie, you know, because that's all he could say, because that's what they taught him. But I taught your grandpa English in about 6 months. but not a word of Spanish was spoken. And then they weren't speaking any Spanish either. It was all English. So he learned, and he had a good mind. He did have a good mind. He could retain a lot. And I taught him how to take his oral driver's license.
That was a nice play.
He could answer everything, you know, and he
Jumped right
retained
over
all of
that
that, so he
clown.
got his driver's license that way.
Yeah.
But the reason these kids don't know any Spanish is because I didn't know it when. I guess when I was small, they didn't speak English, so I didn't speak English. See, but when I went to kindergarten, I learned English. But they whipped the daylights out of me every day
Why?
because I didn't know English. They were prejudiced, biased, prejudice, whatever you want to call it, against Mexicans. So I learned English fast, you know. And then when I had my kids, I said, "Ain't no way they're gonna go through the same thing I did." So no Spanish was spoken in the house. They all had English. They had to learn English, no Spanish, because I don't want to be whipped and everything like what I was.
Detroit's getting in a hurry again.
So that's why they didn't speak. We could have spoke both languages, but I refused to have them go through what I did, you know.
Receivers, that's 3 times in the last 6 or 7 plays I've seen it. Alan Ball going off the field, and Brandon Harris.
And most people that you find here that are even born and raised here, with parents that are born and raised here, and they speak English and Spanish, they can't get away from that little twang. Have you noticed? They have that little,
Their CHUs too.
yeah, they have that little twang. And I said, no way am I going to have that twang. I'm going to learn it the correct way without, hey, como está ese, you know, and all this crap, you know.
That other guy didn't even catch it.
I
guess he did. You know?
I very rarely speak
Yeah.
Spanish because there's nobody around that speaks Spanish.
Hit the floor.
And then when I do get around to somebody that goes to the club that speaks Spanish, man, we're talking.
Yeah.
And when my comadre, we used to get together, we used to speak half and half. Frank said, "What do you do? Why do you do that?" I said, "Do what?" He says, "You're talking in English. You know, my comadre Berta and Jenny, you're talking in English. You're talking, and all of a sudden you're talking in Spanish." I said, "We are?" It was just automatic, remember? Me and my comadre Berta and Jenny, yakking away. And all of a sudden, and then we switched back to English. We just did it out of, and especially.
They are other women too. They're the other women that speak really clear English. You know, they could have spoken Spanish. Bertha, every once in a while when I go visit her, will still speak a little Spanish to me just because, but clear as a bell English.
Oh yeah. And I can speak the correct Spanish.
That's Dawn's mom.
I can speak the correct Spanish. You speak the slang Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish at
Oh,
all.
well, you speak the slang English too. Simple. It's
My
slang.
mother never taught me Spanish.
No.
Well, it would have, you know, now I regret it because now with the job and everything else, it would have been so great.
Yes.
So good to have learned it. But what you learn in high school is not the correct. It's slang. We speak the correct Spanish from old Mexico. I can mention one thing if you learned it in high school here, and it's different what it would say.
Yeah.
Well, what they teach in school is Castilian Spanish, which is Spanish from Spain. And Mexico is a different dialect.
Castellanos is from Mexico, but see what they're here. It's a slang way of speaking it. Instead of saying jamon, they say, you know, something else. There's different. Me and Ted, he was Portuguese, and we used to go to Top Deck. And when I was waiting for Frank, he said, "Hey, what? I bet you don't know this in Spanish." And he was Portuguese, not Spanish. "I bet you don't know this in Spanish. If you know it, I'll buy you a drink. I said, shit, I gotta, you know. And one time, I got him. I says, hey, Ted, I bet you don't know this, what it means in Spanish. She buy me a drink. And yeah. I said, what is a semófero? He goes, semófero. What the semófero? And he thought and thought about it. He said, I can't. I said, give up. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, signal light. Give me a drink. But we used to test each other. We used to test each other.
Traffic signal, yeah.
Yeah, we used to test each other and stuff like this. But see, if you're talking to somebody else that went to school with you and learned Spanish or in high school, talking to say one of your classmates, you would understand each other. But you talk to anybody else like me, whatever. So what the heck are you talking about? That's not the way you say it,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you know if you have any Indian blood in you?
Yeah, Apaches. We're Apaches. Mayans. My mother's, from what she told me, she said Maya, and my dad's Apache.
Your dad's Apache and your mom's Mayan?
Yeah. She was a short chick. He was a tall one. My mother was short.
How short was she?
She was a lot of my kids. Some are short, some are tall. See, my dad was six something, and
Grandpa was tall.
and his father, from seeing in the pictures that I have, was a tall man too. He was a tall man.
Were they ever involved in any like tribal stuff or?
Not that I know of. No.
Was education important to your father for you to get an education? Or your mother?
I don't think so at the time. They sent us to school, I guess, because we had to go to school. But at that time, I don't think anybody in any of the families, as poor as they were or whatever, would ever think of going on to an education because you just worked. You worked and you survived or whatever. You got the best you could. If you could get something else, like we lived on the ranch. I guess he was renting it or something, but he grew vegetables. We had chickens, we had turkey, we had pigs, cows to milk, stuff like this, We had the simplest of things, but we were happy. We didn't think anything of going on to you graduate. My sisters graduated from high school, and my brother. Yeah.
Was education important for you, for your kids to get an education?
Oh yes.
And how did you teach them that education was important? What would you say to them?
Did you get your turkey in?
Oh no, I haven't. I gotta put it in.
Huh?
That's right.
To me, education was very important on account of I didn't have one. And I don't care what I did, they were going to get an education. Like I told them, I want you to work with your mind, not with your back like I have. And if you screw up in high school or whatever, that is your fault, not mine. Because I'm working 2.5 jobs, so you won't have to work. Because Gracie and Bobby wanted to quit school and find a job and go out to work to help me. I said, no way. I don't want to hear it. Discussion is over. Meeting's over. I says, whatever. Only thing that I ask you, huh?
When you were getting your divorce.
Yeah. I said, the only thing that I ask you is don't get in trouble with the law. That's the only way you can help me and help me at home. Because otherwise, I can't do it. I got 5 kids to support. Got to go to work, And that's the only. And I says, and I want you to go to school and do good, And I was still involved with them, with, the concerts and everything else, and their sports and stuff, and I was still involved in everything, but it was hard. It was really hard, but like I say, it was important to me for them to have an education, and they screwed up and then they didn't go to school or whatever, whatnot, and doing what they were doing. Well, it was their loss because they had the opportunity and they didn't do it. Some of them did, some of them didn't, you know. But I wish all of them would have had the incentive to really go after and get their education. But kids are like the fingers on your hand. They're all different. And you can't tell them what to do and what not to do once they get into a certain age. Yeah, okay, fine. If you can't, you can't. And that's all really I got to put in my turkey. It's not a bit tricky.